Leesburg. We are so happy that you joined us this morning. Our theme for this year is Living Out Loud, LOL. And our focus for this month is Cultivating Authenticity. The title of our talk today is Everyone Else is Already Taken. And I cannot wait to hear what Charlene shares regarding that message. It's going to be great. We are so glad, like I said, that you joined us. Take that to-do list and just push it aside, whatever you're planning to do for the rest of the day, and just join us here in this moment of now. Please feel free to add in the chat or the comments section any prayer requests or celebrations that you'd like us to include when we do our spiritual mind treatment, which is a form of affirmative prayer, and it will be following our message in our service. So, like I said, just sit back, take that to-do list, push it aside, as we officially kick off our service for today. Please join us as we create our sacred space. We set our intentions of deepening into our awareness and practice of our 5 pillars of spiritual living by lighting this candle in our virtual world. Our first pillar is sacred study, represented by the divine quality of truth. We use this pillar to recognize the importance of an open mind and the power of our minds. The second pillar is affirmative prayer, represented by the divine quality power. This pillar honors the power of prayer in our daily lives. Our third pillar is meditation and the divine quality of peace. This pillar reminds us of the importance of meditation and the peace we feel when we quiet our minds. The fourth pillar is circulation and the divine quality of life. We know that the great law of circulation works in our lives. As we give, so shall we receive. And the fifth pillar is sacred service and the divine quality of love. This pillar affirms our call to be a service to our world as we see through the eyes of love. Let us close our eyes as we bless this sacred space and our time together. As we weave each of these pillars of spiritual living into our service today, may they deepen our own spiritual practices of study, prayer, meditation, circulation, and service, expanding our minds and our hearts to the 5 divine qualities of truth, power, peace, life, and love. We also bless everyone who made our service possible today and everyone in attendance. May the energy of love that is generated here bless everyone abundantly. And so it is. Okay, and now it is time for our meditation. So if you know me, you know that I look at the title of our talk today and I saw everyone else is already taken. So I chose a meditation today that is all about self-love. Think about this statement. It all begins with self-love. And I'd like you to begin, of course, as we always do with our meditation, of getting into that relaxed state of mind. So just relax back into your chair or wherever you are at this moment. Take a deep breath in. Hold it and slowly release it. And that feels so good. Let's do that again. Deep breath in. Hold it. And exhale. Now, I'm going to put on my English teacher hat for just a moment, so bear with me. There's no pop quiz with this, okay? So there's 2 types of verbs. There's action verbs, and that's when we're moving, we're running, we're jumping, we're skipping, we're laughing, we're singing, we're smiling, action. And then I tell my students, there's other verbs that are often forgotten. State of being verbs. When somebody says, "How are you?" How do you answer? You say, "I'm fine." I am fine. So state of being verbs. Am, is, are, were, was. But the most powerful one, we believe, in fact, we even know, is that statement, I am. So right now, in this wonderful, relaxed state, I want you to think about you, who you are, how you were divinely created, how you are unique, how you are a miracle. And I want you to say to yourself something like this: I am amazing. I am powerful. I am unique. I am a miracle. Just pick one of those and think about that for just one moment. Let it really sink in. You are a one. I said that you were divinely created. So right now, I just want you to think about your toes. You can wiggle them if you want to. Oh my goodness, you're wonderful, wonderful 10 little piggies. They're a miracle, divinely created. Wiggle them, wiggle your ankles, your feet. Think about all that they do for you each day. Each day when you get up out of bed and you stand up on your feet, that is a miracle. Not everybody can do that. Maybe it's not easy for you. Maybe you have a few aches, you have a few pains, but you do it. You get up each morning and you stand on your feet. You are a miracle. Think about your legs, your knees, your calves, your thighs, all the things that they do. Can you run up the stairs quickly? Can you jump? Can you take your dog for a walk? Can you skip? Can you bend down and do some gardening? You're a miracle. You're an absolute miracle, just the way you are. Think about all those organs inside you: your lungs, your stomach, your heart, your lower intestine, your intestine, gallbladder, if you still have one. Think about all the things that they do effortlessly. You don't say, "Okay, liver, it's time for you to do your job now." It just does it. It knows what to do. Isn't that amazing? You are a miracle. Now, I want you to think about something that is inside you. And maybe it is your knees. Maybe they're giving you a little trouble. Or maybe it's your back. Maybe it's your shoulders. Maybe it's your eyes. You feel like your eyesight is going. Just something within you. And it could be, maybe you're feeling great today, right? Just take something that you think needs a little extra love and attention. And I want you to visualize this. Visualize, without getting too grossed out, that you can pull this outside of your body, whatever this is, and just hold it right in front of you in your hand. And I want you to imagine that this little thing that you're holding, this little ache, this little pain, this little part of you that needs a little love and attention, is just like a tiny little puppy or tiny child or something that is sweet and precious and fragile. And it just needs a little extra love. What would you do if you saw a small child crying, right? You'd comfort it. So just take that part of you that just needs a little extra love right now and just shower it. Shower it with love. Thank it for all that it does for you. Tell it that you're paying attention to it, whatever it's trying to say to you. You're paying attention. You're giving it love. You're giving it time. You're giving it grace. You're giving it gratitude. Just focus your attention on that little part of you and bless it. You know it cares for you. It wants the best for you. So just thank it. Give it gratitude. Give it love. Give it appreciation for all that it's doing each and every day effortlessly without you even paying attention to it. But right now, you're paying attention and you're giving it so much love. Ah, now, because we have other things to do, and we have some great music and a great message waiting for us, just take that little piece of you, tuck it back inside, and thank your body, thank your mind, thank your spirit. And remember, you are a miracle. Say it with me. I am a miracle. And now it's time for Leah.
Good morning, CSL Leesburg. This is a song I know I've shared maybe more than once before. It's been a staple for me in the last few years in healing some relationships, including relationship to myself. So when it becomes familiar, I'd like to invite you to sing along. Just as you are without changing a thing, just as you are, I accept you. I see you, I hear you, I welcome you in, just as you are, just as you are, just as you are without changing a thing, just as you are, I accept you. I see you, I hear you, I welcome you in, just as you are, just as you are, just as you are without changing a thing, just as you are, I accept you. I see you, I hear you, I welcome you in, just as you are, just as you are, just as you are without changing a thing, just as you are, just as you are, I accept, just as you are. I see you, I hear you, I welcome you in, just as you are, just as you are, just as you are without changing a thing, just as you are, just as you are, I accept, just as you are. I see you, I hear you, I welcome you in, just as you are, just as you are, just as you are, just as you are.
Oh, I loved it. That was beautiful. Just as you are. I love this whole month's topic. We're cultivating authenticity in March, just like Tamara said. Thank you for that introduction. Thank you for that fun meditation where we get to examine parts of ourselves because we're wonderful. But how many of us here, I won't ask for a show of hands, but internally raise your hand if you had a hard time sort of believing Tamara when she said, yeah, you're wonderful, you're awesome, you're magnificent. A lot of us have a lot of resistance to that thought. I've got some ideas why. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about how we got here and what can we do to break free and get back to our true magnificence. And there's a process. Of course, there's a process. There's always a process. But high level, the title of this talk is Everyone Else is Already Taken. Now that comes from a quote that says, be yourself because everybody else is already taken. And I know Emerson famously said that imitation is suicide. I love that idea. Imitation, when I try to be just like someone else, then I'm killing off who I really am. And besides, everybody else is already taken. So I can't be everybody else. I can't be particular people. They're already who they are. And so we're talking about living out loud for this whole year. I love Tamara said, LOL, love it. Living out loud is us expressing who we really are. And how are we going to do that if we can't discover and embrace that authenticity of who we really are? So let's get started. I want you to imagine, I'm trying to come up with like a really good analogy, and you know I love a good analogy, but I'm struggling because in this analogy, I need 3 layers. I need a core layer, I need something in the middle, and I need a hard outside. So I'm thinking a peach. I don't know, go with it. Peach. If you are the peach pit, the peach pit, the middle of it, right? It's the core. And in this analogy, the core of your being is your essential self, who you really are, who you were born to be, and the true essence, your true nature, unfettered, unmessed with, as you entered on this planet and embodied this soul. Some of us believe that we were who we are before we got to this body, and we remain who we were, who we are, and who we were never born, and then therefore we shall never die. But let's just go with this corporeal person who has a body right now sitting in the chair that you're sitting in. We'll start there. Imagine the center of you, the core, that little peach pit, that's the true you. All right, so here we are. The little baby's born, the little baby's in the crib, and assuming a fairly mainstream background, I'm going to submit that this is barring any weird, strange, extremely traumatic activity that may have happened. Regular situation, you're born, there's a crib, there are people. Now, the people around you respond different ways. In order to get their attention and to get your needs met, you've got to behave a certain way. You got to cry to get there. There's things. We learn how to interact with the world around us. As we grow older, this becomes a bit of a challenge. Now, at home, we may feel unconditionally loved, and everybody thinks that what you do is so cute. You just eat her up, pick her up, and just guess what? At school, they don't think the same thing. Nope. You get to school or wherever it is where you've experienced that first thing that I'm going to call dissonance. I'm getting it from this book I'll talk to you about later. The first dissonance, the first time the world didn't react to your cute little button face. They didn't do that. They might have did. When that first happened, there's a bit of a, whoa, hold up. I'm not completely adorable to everyone on the planet. What? And then it starts. So we start to doubt ourselves. Maybe we're not so amazing. Maybe we're not so cute. Maybe we need to change. Maybe we need to change our behavior just a little bit so we could keep getting positive feedback. So the core of who we really are starts to have another layer on it. It becomes, I suppose at this point, we're at the fleshy part of the peach. It's a work in progress. So we're at the part of the peach where it's the dissonant layer. This dissonant layer is the part where we doubt who we thought we were. And maybe the really young, free spirit is now a little more reserved, less joyful, less whatever it is, based on feedback. All right, so you're with me. Everybody has a moment like this. I'm sure you can think of one. And in your spare time, I'd like you to reach back and think of the first time you got the maybe I'm not so great feeling. Because we're gonna talk about that a little later. Now you've got this dissonant self, and your internal connection to the divine is feeling a little out of place, feeling a little out of sorts. But during this time, through adolescence, early adulthood, we found out that we could get another way of being appreciated, of being recognized. And that, let me look, that creates this other layer, the outer layer, and it's thicker than the skin on a peach. So I'm already regretting my analogy. I'm going to come up with a good one, though. It's going to work. The bounded self. Now, this bounded self is the interface between the rest of the world and our dissonance. So this bounded self could show up as a certain personality type. You decide, I know, I'm going to be a punk rocker in my adolescence in order to eschew these people who are making their opinion about me. They don't like me. Well, then I'm going all in. They're really not going to like me. I'm going to dye my hair purple. I'm going to pierce everything. And I'm just going to rock out. Or I'm going to put on baggy, saggy jeans so you could see my underwear and it says a version of some brand, I don't know. And my parents are going to tell me to pull my pants up, and nothing makes me happier than pissing off my parents. You get the idea. This bounded self has created a persona that's dealing with the dissonance between the, I thought I was great, but I'm not great. So I'm either going to become perfect little Miss Perfect or just rebel the heck out of it. Either way, I don't know what to do with this feeling, so I'm going to work it out. Now, the bounded self is the one that's responsible for all the great stuff. When we go to accumulate things and we want to have that car, that purse, those shoes, whatever it is that is the indicator of success, you can know that you're living from the bounded self. It is the one that seeks accolades. It's the one that does jobs because the money is good. It's the one that starts businesses because of the profit that is embedded in it. That's the bounded self, still looking for approval, still trying to barter their way into worthiness. Each one of us has this too. You couldn't have made it here without having some of that. Now the question becomes, now at your big age, I always like to say at my big age, how much of this is serving me? It turns out that this bounded self, this ego, some might call it the ego self, or the thing that I cling to, is also keeping me, that thing that I cling to is also keeping me from the truth about myself, my inner splendor. Because I'm so fascinated by the shiny things, I never sit down to think, to work, or to let go of my worries and to contemplate something deeper. But typically, something happens, either at work or in our communities. We will encounter a bit of a frictional experience. It might be considered something like a tectonic plate movement. It's an earthquake, it's a little eruption. Something happens where cracks start to emerge, little cracks in the veneer. It could be, oh, I worked so hard that I made my body sick, so I had to stop. I had to cancel all my appointments and sit down. The author of the book that I'm referring to, which I'll talk about later, he says he got himself so sick that, well, he didn't have to get too sick. He said, I'm not stupid. I mean, I'm a quick learner. He said, I woke up, canceled all my appointments and went and sat by the ocean. I just sat by the ocean. I meditated and I watched the flow of the ocean as it ebbs and flows, the tides come in and out. He said he woke up one night and he was all of a sudden aware of his digestive system, kind of like Tamara was saying, his digestive system, how it was working in pure harmony with the rest of his body, extracting the nutrients and distributing them through his intestines and delivering it to the different parts of his body in perfect harmony without his micromanagement, conscious micromanagement. And then he went back to sleep and he said later he woke up and there was the moon, and the moon, all of a sudden he could see that the moon was moving in orbit with the right gravitational pull with the earth, and then the sun, and all of it was working in divine harmony without his micromanagement. And then he made the leap. Oh my gosh, the whole universe is working in divine order without my micromanagement. But wait a minute, So if that's true, then why is there all this scurrying around on my part? If it's already true that the universe is working to its divine outcome, this is all perfectly on purpose, then why do I judge everything I see, try to micromanage everything that's going on, wish things were one way rather than the other way? Why isn't anything ever good enough if I can sit here and know that the universe is harmonious and everything is working in divine order, even when I think it's not, then all is well. And he said that it was the crack in his veneer that we all experience. We've all had those moments where we're like, I don't know, this doesn't seem good. Something's trying to come through. Something's knocking on the insides of us, trying to get out. And he wrote this whole book. We're going to do this in our workshop coming up, this Noble Purpose book. He says, well, all you got to do is peel away. I mean, okay, I'll show you. Here's a picture of his little thing. You see that? That's what I mean, what does that look like? I wish I had like a thing that I can relate that to, because these pictures aren't available online and I couldn't just copy paste. But yeah, your essential self is covered by something that happened that was dissonant. And then we covered that by the bounded self, which says, okay, well, don't be as big. I'll tell you about mine. I mean, I remember the first time I remember someone saying something terrible. I must have been 4. I was a little tiny thing. And I know my whole family, we all have these eyebrows. If you don't wax them right here, they kind of meet. And then if you're just thinking you look mean, they call it resting bitch face now. But back in the day, it's just, so I was a little 4-year-old with a resting bitch face. It was what it was. And I didn't know it. I was cute. In my family, I was the baby. They picked me up. They carried me everywhere. I was precious. These ladies that were on the field trip, who were chaperones, they asked me, what is your sign? And I knew the answer to that for some reason. I said, Sagittarius. And they said, that's an evil looking Sagittarius. It's like, and I don't think they thought I heard them, or maybe they just didn't care. Mean girls, they are everywhere. But I remember thinking, how is my little sweet self evil looking? I don't understand it. And I remember the second time, this is the time I think the rest of my whole life kind of went back to this moment. I think you'll help me realize, I think you'll know whether I'm still under the spell or not. You tell me. Here's the story really quick. My parents, loved them to death. They took off and went on a trip. It was their honeymoon. Can't blame them. They sat me with a family. I think I told you this story. That family proceeded to beat me up. I was a punching bag for 2 weeks. My parents came back and I was like, I'm forever different. And I think that, and of course, everything's fine. Everybody's forgiven. It's all good. But I remember thinking, what did I do wrong? I know what I did wrong. I came in there and I was dancing and because I'm adorable. Everyone loves me. So I'm dancing and doing the thing. And all they were doing was taking notes and, we're going to take the joy out of her. Let's do this. Oh, guys, guess what else we could do? We could do that. We're going to break her because she's way too happy. I thought that they did that because I was too happy. And if I went in there a little less happy, I would have been liked. So, yep, sure, for sure. All through like my adolescence, I would try to be, I kind of can't help it. I'm hyper, but I would try to hide it. I would try to, and I'm bright, but I would try to, and I'm smart, but I'd sit in the back. Like I wouldn't really let myself out because I thought, well, it tends to piss people off. People want to beat me down when I show them how fabulous I am. But I think you and I can agree, I'm over it. That's the thinking though. Think about yourself. When was the moment when you realized other people didn't see you the way your mommy and daddy see you? And then what did you do to try to hide that? And it's not that far off. And when we go into our noble purpose exercises, we have a little workshop coming up today. We're going to just write a few things down. It's not like you have to find your noble purpose Why were you placed on the earth? No, it's what have you always done that's always been you? It's really close by. It's just that then you talked yourself out of it because, well, mature Black women aren't giddy. Mature Black women are like Felicia Rashad of Bill, she's like, and I swear I try that, but then I crack up giggling because I can't. It's not me. I remember I tried to be a model. Remember I told you my modeling story, and I would walk down the runway and I would try to have personality. They told me to stop it. And I would be like in the just the fittings and then in the actual photo shoots. And I would try to have, engage people. Nope. Stand there, put on the clothes and shut up. I thought, this is terrible. This is terrible. You got to find things that really speak to you. And I tried being those other people. It never worked. Part of me, the real Charlene, was always in there. And then creating problems, like setting little fires so that I could get out is what I realized I was doing. And I want you to know that through these personal stories, my own and of the author, what he puts in his book, there you'll be able to find little touchstones of, oh yeah, I do remember that. And I always did like that. Why did I stop doing it? There's a part of us that's attracted to something that not everybody else wants to do. There are things that other people are doing that you'll look at it and go, oh my gosh, I could never. There are people who write beautiful music, and they've been doing so since they were born, and they're great at it. And I'm like, I love your beautiful music and I shall buy all of it. But what I don't say to myself is, I must do that. It's not me. And that's okay. And that's what it's supposed to be. We are not here to want to do everything that other people are doing, but we are here to watch for those times when someone's doing something and we say, oh, I must do that. Now, it's not that you're trying to emulate them. It's just that they're a sort of a signpost of the way you should go. I have an older sister, her, Mafi. She was taking a computer class in high school. And I remember looking at that going, when I get older, I'm going to take a computer class because I really wanted to do that. She took that computer class and said, okay, that was fun. And she kept on going in another direction. And when it was time for me to take a computer class, I glomped onto it and just kept going in that direction. And everybody is attracted to their own path. And what we should never do is discourage each other. Just because it's not for us, we don't want to poo-poo the thing that someone else is doing, because we need all types of people on this planet. Imagine if we didn't each have our own individual desires to do it just our own way. I mean, I think we would have died off by now. I was studying something about genes, and it's so true that if you don't provide enough diversity in a gene pool, well, we know what happens. I mean, you've seen the memes, right? If you inbreed enough, then everybody dies. Like, it's not good. You've got to inject as much variability into the gene pool, because then you are resistant to any single thing taking everybody out. Everyone in this community, we all are diverse enough, interested in just enough different things so that we each have such a contribution to the whole, and it creates a whole that is sturdy. It creates a tapestry that can hold up. And it's good because we don't have any single points of failure, or everybody's not specialized in exactly the same thing, right? That way we all spread the love. And where I'm weak, someone else says, oh, I got that. I know how to do that. Move over. And when I'm strong and I see someone struggling, I can offer. We're not supposed to be exactly the same. And we're supposed to be hungry in different ways for different things. I love it. I love that, for example, Aaron and Dan, they knew. They said, oh, yeah, we could be comfortable in our little house in Maryland and we could just tootle along. But they're like, there's something bigger, something calling us, and we're gonna pursue that. That is what we want. It's an eco-friendly, they'll tell you all about it. Eco-friendly, cooperative sort of living that's leading edge, possibly bleeding edge, because so few are doing it. But the fact that they're not content, I'm sure people must have told Dan and Aunt Aaron, they must have told you guys, why don't you just settle in and be happy with what you got? Be satisfied with what you got. Something in us that is unsatisfied with what we've got, it's talking to us. We follow it. We follow it. We do it wisely. We don't just drop everything and blow up our lives, but we follow that thread. There's something there that we're meant to do. No one else is meant to do it like we're meant to do it. And we follow that. That instinct, that desire, that thrust, it's the infinite desire to express. And I want to say it comes with infinite creativity. Here's how you know if you're living within the bounded self, if your bounded self is running you, or if you've cracked open that shell and if you're letting your core essential self shine through. All right, if you're in the bounded self, you lack enthusiasm when you wake up in the morning. You don't feel that there's freedom to initiate anything of substance in your life. And you get frustrated when you try to create something new. Here's the biggest one. You don't feel like what you're doing at work or at your, I know a lot of people aren't working, but your daily activity, you don't feel like it contributes to the betterment of others. That's the key. You're living your purpose when you can say you're living with freedom. You have joy, and what you're doing every day is for the benefit of somebody else. It's not enough that you get to buy better shoes. That's not enough. I hate to say it. I mean, I like shoes, but COVID taught me nobody needs shoes. All you need is a fluffy pair of slippers. So you have this thing, this internal urge to do and to be. And then you ask yourself, who is this for? Who's benefiting from it? If it's just me, then ask the universe, is there something higher? Is there a higher expression of this that I can do? And just keep asking those questions and it will keep coming. Ernest Holmes. Ernie, Uncle Ernie. Hold on, sorry. Because I could go on, I could just ramble. Let me go back to the source here. All right, Ernest. Your soul belongs to the universe. Your mind is an outlet through which the creative intelligence of the universe seeks fulfillment. Your mind is an outlet through which the creative intelligence of the universe seeks an outlet. So think about a bunch of little holes poked on a surface and all the light, each one of those little holes is sending forth light. The universe, the great creative mind of the cosmos that created us is also seeking to express itself as us, individually as us. Now, you know, from your point of view, things look completely different than they do to me, from my point of view. And we can agree on a lot of things, but I'll never see anything exactly as you do. And that's why you can bring art, you can bring science, you can bring music, and I'll go, oh. This is why we each can really inspire each other with our true core. It doesn't work so well if we're just imitating each other. You just get a poor copy. In fact, I remember back in the day when you used to make copies of tapes. For those of you who are young, tapes are these little magnetic things with little reels that go in a reader and it reads music. But if you made a copy of that tape, and then you made a copy of the copy, and then a copy of the copy, it would degrade over time, just like the gene pool that we talked about earlier. We're not here to duplicate each other or to mimic or to echo. We can inspire each other, but no one wants a clone of anything. Everything new has a new moment, a new angle, a new stretch, a new view, something that can come and change everything. Ernest says in The Science of Mind, humans, I'm going to modify it, humans are made out of and from life. As effect must partake of the nature of its cause, so humans must partake of the divine nature from which they spring. We did not create our nature. We cannot change its inherent reality. We are what we are, and we use this nature for better or for worse. And that is a good final point to land on. We use it for better or for worse. We're creating for better or for worse. When people come to our teaching, we teach them, you are where you are because of your thoughts. Your thoughts create your experience. And that could be for good or for bad. And so we help each other by taking our thoughts and ensuring that they are thoughts that are resting on the highest good for all involved, thoughts that are on what we want to experience and not what we hate or what we don't like or those other people. We hold in thought that which we want to experience and then watch with amazement and gratitude as it unfolds in our lives. So this afternoon, right after this talk, and everybody goes and grabs a coffee, we'll be doing a free 3-hour workshop. There'll be a break in between. We're going to talk about the noble purpose, and we'll do a couple of exercises on how to expose and how to enjoy what is your inner core. So go with me into prayer as we just acknowledge the one divine truth, and that is universal intelligence that spawned our very existence. And we acknowledge that this divine intelligence is everywhere present. And there's nowhere on the planet, there's nowhere in reality that can exist without also this presence. This presence created us, it is in, through, and as us, and it is available. It can never be separate. Although we can turn away from its indwelling presence, we can never be separate from it. So here with our mind's eye, we turn toward this indwelling presence. In this awareness, we know we are one with the divine intelligence, the all-knowing, all-seeing, all-powerful. And as such, we have access to abundance and to wealth and friendship, joy, peace, beauty, all of the attributes of the divine are here embodied within us. They're here right now, waiting to be uncovered, waiting to be discovered and illumined. And so as we put our attention on what it is we want to experience, I speak my word for anyone that is feeling lost or feeling questioning. I know right here, right now, that the answers are within each and every one of us. That any sense of confusion or worry is replaced with a solid sense of rightness, right being, right time. We are right where we're meant to be. Every moment in our lives have led us to this very point, and all is well. I give thanks for this awareness. I know that everything is unfolding perfectly, and I release it. I let it go into the mind of God, and so it is. Amen. Ashe. All right, so we are gonna, what, you're leaving early. All right, let me go ahead and share. We are going to share the song from Leah.
My hands are strong enough, they're strong enough, I'm good enough. My hands are strong enough to give love. My hands are strong enough, they're strong enough, I'm good enough. My hands are strong enough to give love. My hands are strong enough, they're strong enough, I'm good enough. My hands are strong enough to give love. I know that I am strong enough to give love. I'm here for love. I know that I am strong enough to give love. My hands are strong enough. I know that still give you power. I'm strong enough to give you love. I know that every day is strong, every hour. I still give you power. I'm strong enough to give you love. I know that my hands are strong enough, they're strong enough, and I'm good enough. My hands are strong enough to give love.
Oh my gosh. Sometimes, guys, I get so wrapped up in Leah's singing that I'm like, oh yeah, now it's my turn to talk. Oh my goodness. Folks, thank you for joining us today. We can't do what we do each Sunday without your support. You can look on your screen and you can see that there are so many ways that you can give. It's easy for you to find a way that you can support us, our home organization, and other organizations that support our vision of helping to create a world that works for everyone. So now, no matter how you're giving, just place that over your heart and join me in our blessing of gifts. And look at that gorgeous image that I'm seeing on our screen. The presence of spirit within me blesses everyone I meet, tends to heal everything I touch, brings gladness into the life of everyone I contact. Therefore, I'm a blessing to myself, to humankind, and to the day in which I live. Beautiful, beautiful message. All right, folks, it's time for announcements. So you heard Charlene during service talking about this workshop, and it's today after service. Charlene, can you come on and give a quick shout out about what time it's starting?
Yeah. So, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna start around noon, and then because I know everybody said that if we start sooner, we can end sooner, but I'm flexible. Pretty much we're keeping this Zoom open and we'll start as soon as most people are ready. I'm definitely gonna walk the dog before we start though.
All right. So I'm seeing 10 of 12.
Or just 12.
12. All right, 12.
Yeah.
So that's our time now. So in
Yeah.
about 10 minutes, Noble Purpose. You heard
Yeah.
Charlene talking about this book several times. I got to tell you, Charlene, I'm so inspired. I always take lots of notes. Here's my little notebook. If you don't have one of these, you need to get one by becoming a member. But exploring your noble purpose. And this is what I wrote down. She said, what have you always done? Because it's always been you. So that's the workshop today, right after our service. I'm going to be driving, Charlene, but I'm going to join you guys.
Yeah, join.
Because you just sold me. This sounds too important. Can't ignore this. So join us if you can. Hope you can be there. On Tuesdays, as always, we have Dream Study with Charlene. It's at 9:00 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you just do a little Google search about the importance of dreams, you will find that there's so much. People are really paying attention to what is coming to us when we are sleeping. There's a lot going on, and maybe you need a little help interpreting your dreams. And that's what they do on Tuesday mornings. All right, guys, since we have things to do, we got this Noble Purpose workshop. We're going to wrap it up quickly. Charlene, I'm kind of thinking we're not doing pearls today. Is that right?
Yeah, that's probably the case.
I think so. So usually with pearls, maybe you want to just join us for the Noble Purpose workshop and type something in the chat if there was something that you just got to share with us. Charlene, that was a knock it out of the park message today. I cannot tell you how you just gave me so much. I'm going to be thinking about that little peach in the peach pit for all week long. All right. Join me with our closing affirmation. Put your hands over your heart. And I really want you to think about everything that Charlene presented in our message today, everything that Leah was singing about in her songs, and even what I was saying in that meditation. And just give yourself a hug. Give yourself a hug and say, I am loved. That feels so good. Now look at somebody who's in the room with you, or just send it out. Somebody needs this message right now. You are loved. And now put your hands up in the air and join us, because remember, guys, it all starts with self-love. It's all about love. It's all love. Thank you so much for joining us today. Do a quick little break. Do what you have to. Grab a sandwich, walk the dog, And then come on back here on our link at 12 o'clock noon or as soon as you can after that. We're going to talk about noble purpose and explore what is your noble purpose. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you in a little bit. Bye-bye.
All love.